Hi all and welcome back to a new video of which we continue on our quest to find more Cheltenham Festival winners with another Antepost portfolio episode. An interesting week, an interesting weekend's worth of action, which has led me to come down on two more picks for the Cheltenham Festival, and hopefully we can go about trying to find another couple of winners. If you're new to the videos, I do strongly advise you going back through all the Antepost videos I have put up. We've had some good shouts in there. Min at 12 to 1 for the Ryanair. He's now 7. Chacun pour soi 7 to 1 for the Champion Chase. Doesn't look a bad bet. Botox has at 33s for the Triumphs. He's now 20. And then we've had a couple of ones that have gone by the wayside, including one of last week's picks, Band of Outlaws, who's unfortunately been ruled out of the festival, I'd say around 2 days after I put him up for the county hurdle. I do think that was a good bet, but look, those sort of things are always going to happen. Going through the weekend's action, over in England on Saturday, there wasn't much of real note. 2 for Gold won the 3 mile novice chase. He looks an alright horse. And what's the name of the Tristan Davis horse? I can't remember. Mossy Fen, I think. He won the kind of Ballymore Novice Hurdle trial. Did it all right. Scrappy, he's probably an Albert Bartlett type, but they seem to have probably a better go at the Albert Bartlett with Redford Road, I'd say, for that stable. So they might run two in it. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him. Deco Irlandais ran actually a massive race for Noel Kelly, the Derry-based trainer. Looked like he was winning all until the last bit of the race, last 20 yards perhaps, where he got chinned, which was a bit of a shame, but he ran a stormer. Probably not up to Cheltenham Festival class, though I wouldn't think anything on the Saturday in England really screamed to me like Cheltenham Festival winner. Frodon, probably the closest, and yet I don't think Frodon's winning the Ryanair. I thought last year's Ryanair ended up being a fairly weak renewal, and if it turns out like it could this year, with the likes of Main, Utar perhaps, it becomes a pretty strong renewal pretty quickly, and I think Frodon will be slightly out of his depth, but he's a likeable sort. He did it nicely, and there's a lot to like, but he only beat Keeper Hill by 2 lengths in the end. I don't think he's really a Cheltenham proposition going forward. I was, though, impressed by a couple on Sunday at Punchestown for the Sky Bet Moscow Flyer Day. It's won by some brilliant horses in the past. And this year, it saw Andy Dufresne get the better of Captain Guinness. And I've my own views on it. You might disagree completely. I'm not sure whether Andy Dufresne is the answer to any of the novice races at Cheltenham. I wouldn't kind of pin my colours to the mast and say he is or he isn't. But what I don't like is that just because he's beaten Captain Guinness a length, people are crabbing the performance. I think we're very quick to do this by horses that perhaps aren't your sexy horses, your real kind of hype horses in many ways, because he got beaten by Latest Exhibition last time out. Latest Exhibition is a very good horse. He only came second to Abacadabras, was right there with Abacadabras coming down to the last, and then was just done for a bit of toe over 2 miles, and then stepped up to 2.5 and beat Andy Dufresne well. I think in time Andy Dufresne is a 2 mile 4 horse. Whether he'll run in the Supreme, maybe he will, but I don't think there's no discredit beating Captain Guinness by a length, and 15 lengths back to anything will do. I think that's actually not bad form in the book. I think Captain Guinness is a lot better than a lot of people are trying to let on about. And I think Andy Dufresne's a lot better than a lot of people want to see. Just because he didn't do the job by 10 lengths doesn't mean he's not a good horse. And I said this on Twitter yesterday. There is a part of me that thinks there's more merit in beating Captain Guinness a length than Abacadabras beating Heaven Help Us 7 lengths. Now, you guys know what I'm feeling about Abacadabras. I'm just not a fan. I can't take to him at all. He just doesn't jump well enough, and he doesn't find much off the bridle, which does annoy me. I hate bridle merchants. But anyway, that's one for another day. I thought Andy Dufresne, I wouldn't be ploughing in for a Festival novice just yet, but I think there was a lot more to like about the performance than some people maybe want to admit. However, the main impressive performance on Sunday at Punchestown was that of Carefully Selected in the novice chase, who is my first Antepost tip for this week's episode, putting him up for the RSA chase. 16 to 1 in places and 14 to 1 pretty much across the board. He's shortened into favourite for the National Hunt chase. But what people need to realise is that this horse needs to run over 3 miles and come in the top 4 for him to qualify for the National Hunt chase. And I'm not sure where he's going to do that. Perhaps he might run in the 10 up. But I just think this horse showed too much speed. I think 2 mile 4 at Punchestown was obviously raising a few question marks for quite a lot of people, and I would agree he's not a 2.5 miler, but he showed plenty of speed, he jumped well, and put a decent enough feel to the sword. You know, he had Speakeasy cooked when he fell at the last, and City Island, I think the less said the better, unfortunately, about City Island. Maybe we'll judge him next time on his good, if he runs on good ground, maybe that's the key to him. I don't think he's as bad as that. I think he's still a good horse, but it wasn't a particularly inspiring performance. But Carefully Selected won very well, and I think very few of you guys even would be able to crab his performance yesterday. I think he's a 3 mile horse, and the RSA just doesn't look one of the great races to me. I think it's a race that could be exploitable. I'm not a big fan of Champ. I can see why people think he'll win the RSA because he's got a massive engine. But the horse is a bit of a loony and he doesn't jump very well. Battle Over Doyen is a horse that really hasn't caught my imagination whatsoever. I was at Punchestown when he won the Florida Pearl. I was at Leopardstown when he won the Neville Hotels. And he's just scrappy. He's just a battler, really. He looks more suited to 3-6 than Carefully Selected would. But I just think Carefully Selected is a bit of an unknown here. I think after that performance, I would be hard-pressed to think in the Mullins camp that they're going, we need to run him in the National Hunt chase. They've no obvious horse to run in the 3 mile race, because I feel Allaho will run in the JLT. Faheen, I suppose, could run in the RSA, but I don't know. I just think Carefully Selected, I think 3 miles around Cheltenham is what his bag is. I think he would have had a good chance if he ran in the Bartlett last year. Obviously, things didn't go right for him last year, ground-wise. But he's a high-class horse. He was second in a champion bumper. He was a good bumper horse. And then quite a good novice hurdler last year, even in the 2 starts. And has now adapted the fences very nicely, winning 2 from 2. 14 to 1 / 16 to 1 just seems big in a market where if you take out Champ, I think it's all up for grabs, to be honest. And I've plumped on this as his most likely festival option. And I'm fingers crossed it will be. Because if he rocks up in the RSA on the day, he'll be around 8 to 1. Maybe even shorter, depending on what he does from now until then. And the next selection for this week, so the second of the 2 selections, comes kind of because of Carefully Selected, and it is putting up Champagne Classic at 7 to 1 for the National Hunt chase over 3 miles, 6 furlongs. The reason I didn't back Champagne Classic beforehand was I was very concerned about Carefully Selected, and I still would be if he rocked up, but I just think it's more and more unlikely that he runs. Champagne Classic, I think, will run in this race as long as Battle Over Doyen stays sound. He ran a nice race behind Battle Over Doyen over Christmas where he wasn't given a particularly hard time. His jumping isn't extravagant. It does seem like jumping that would suit the National Hunt chase. He just goes in, he pops and pops and pops. And his form this year is good. You know, his Ferry House Beginners chase, I was there. He jumped very nicely, won very cosily. I was then down at Wexford. I seem to be following Champagne Classic this year, where he beat Discorama. I quite like Discorama, even though things haven't quite gone right from this year, which is a bit of a shame, but that's hey-ho, that's horse racing. And he won very easily that day with Robbie Barter on board, and as I say, he was a good second without giving the hardest of races. over Christmas. I think they're plotting this horse for the National Chase. I don't know who will ride him, because you'd think Jamie Codd, but Jamie Codd doesn't actually ride that much for Gigginstown anymore. So I think it'll either be Jamie Codd or Elise O'Neill. Either or, they're both smashing jockeys at the end of the day. I think this horse is being laid out for the National Hunt Chase, and unless something happened to Battle Over Doyen and they would then swerve him to the RSA, I think he'd be a fairly solid proposition. 7-1, he's second favourite behind Carefully Selected at the moment. I think he's the type of horse that if Carefully Selected was to be pinned at the RSA, this horse suddenly becomes a 3-1 shot. Especially without, if you took out Carefully Selected, Sam Spinner's already out. There's not much depth in this race, and he's a class act. He was a Martin Pipe winner, a Grade 1 novice hurdle winner, and almost a Grade 1 winning novice chaser there over Christmas. So this is a horse of high class and should go very close here in the National Hunt Chase. So to conclude this video, the two selections for this week is Carefully Selected in the RSA Chase at 16-1 and Champagne Classic for the National Hunt Chase at 7-1. I think they're still both very good prices for their respectable races. Obviously, we're pinning down our hopes that they run in those respective races, but that is the way Antepost tipping works, I suppose. So that is how I'm going to do it. Of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel down below. The channel is slowly building with subscribers, which is brilliant to see. You guys seem to be enjoying the Cheltenham content, which is also excellent. And of course, give me your opinions down below. What did you make of Andy Dufresne? Did you think it was nowhere near the mark? Were you like me and thinking it actually needs to be upgraded a bit? What were your thoughts on Carefully Selected and City Island? What do you do with City Island now? Do you keep ploughing down and hope for good ground over fences, or do you send them back over hurdles? I'd keep them over fences and look for a bit of better ground, but that's just me personally. I still think there's a chaser in the making with City Island. But as I say, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, and I'll see you guys probably next week for another installment of the Antepost portfolio. And until then, best of luck.